12-year-old boy hid inside a trash bin while playing hide-and-seek with his friends, but an unaware garbage truck later collected the trash and unknowingly loaded the boy into the truck. Garbage truck driver Brandon Hall made the horrifying discovery while unloading trash at a waste facility, where he suddenly realized a young boy was inside the garbage pile. After calling 911, the 12-year-old was pronounced dead at the scene. According to the medical examiner, the boy eventually suffocated after being buried under trash for an extended period of time. Police later identified the boy as Logan Brooks. Investigators said Logan had been playing hide-and-seek with friends at the time of the incident. Surveillance footage showed Logan hiding inside a trash bin, causing his friends to lose track of where he was. Meanwhile, garbage truck driver Brandon Hall was collecting trash along his normal route. Brandon then operated the truck and emptied the trash bin, unknowingly dumping Logan into the garbage truck along with the trash. After learning about her son's death, Logan's mother filed a lawsuit against Brandon. She claimed Brandon showed serious negligence while working because he failed to check the trash bin before dumping it and ignored Logan's cries for help during the process. Brandon later hired a lawyer and argued that he was simply following normal procedures. He stated that the garbage truck was extremely loud while operating, making it impossible for him to hear any cries for help. He also explained that the truck remained sealed during operation, meaning Logan's death was a tragic accident. The case is still ongoing. Who do you think should be held responsible?
He's the world's smallest prisoner, and you'll never imagine the horrible things he's done. Lola and her husband have 2 children. They live in an apartment in Paris, and on a Wednesday, they decided to go and buy a pizza because the children had a lunch break. They decided to go alone and leave their 4-year-old son and 15-month-old sister at home. They thought their 4-year-old son could look after his sister. The trip would only take 30 minutes at most. Shortly after they left, the 4-year-old was playing in the kitchen with his sister, and something horrible happened. He decided to carry his sister into the oven and lit it. When the parents came back, they entered the apartment and smelled burnt meat. But they didn't worry too much because they had bought pizza. However, when they went into the kitchen for a glass of water and observed what was going on in the kitchen, they were convinced. Completely terrified, and you'll never believe what the little one did next. Press the plus button and comment prisoner.
Did y'all hear about the 13-year-old girl that became famous for surviving her own birthday party? Everybody there literally passed away. Yes, her name was Emily Carter. Emily decided to throw a birthday party. She invited 6 of her close friends. It was a sleepover birthday party, by the way. They all had fun, they ate cake, took pictures, and enjoyed themselves. It was literally the average, typical sleepover. They all went to sleep inside of Emily's basement because that's just where they slept. The next morning when Emily woke up, all 6 of her friends were literally unalived. When the police arrived, Emily was shaken up. She was crying, she was hysterical, like she looked traumatized. Turns out that carbon monoxide had slipped into the house and literally unalived everyone. It was a tragic accident. They felt so bad for Emily. Everyone raised money for Emily so she can heal properly. Emily started a YouTube channel and was talking about her healing process and her recovery and everything. She even got famous to the point where she literally started going on talk shows and having interviews and everything. Everyone just thought it was a tragic incident.
This woman literally chopped her baby's arms off with a kitchen knife, all because God told her to. Dina and John Schlosser lived in Plano, Texas with their 3 daughters, ages 9, 6, and 10 months old. On November 22nd, 2004, John got a call from Dina saying she'd just cut off their baby's arms. He thought she was joking, even though Dina had a history of mental illness. Regardless, when you hear a claim like that, it should be taken seriously. Instead of calling the police, John called the pastor of his church. The pastor told John to call someone who can check on Dina and their baby Margaret to make sure everything is okay. He then called his neighbor Carolyn, who worked at a daycare center in the area, and asked for them to check on Dina and Margaret. Carolyn called Margaret on the phone, and that's when things started to get real. It's unclear what the phone call entailed, but whatever it was, it led a fellow daycare employee to call the police. 911 dispatcher Steve Edwards then called Dina to see if everything was okay. Dina picked up the phone and calmly told Steve she just cut off her baby's arms. Steve asked Dina if she wanted to help her baby, and she smugly said no. As if this woman didn't already seem crazy enough, Steve said he heard church hymns playing in the background. Like, what is this woman's deal? With that, police officers and paramedics rushed to the scene. Officer David Tilley was the first to arrive. He found Dina covered in red fluid with a gash on her shoulder and a 9-inch kitchen blade in her hand. One report said she was sitting at her computer table, casually reading her Bible with the gospel song "He Touched Me" playing in the background. Oh my god, this is like straight out of a horror movie. David was able to convince Dina to hand him the blade, and when she did, he noticed pieces of flesh on it. Ugh, I bet his stomach was in knots. More officers showed up, and they found the almost 11-month-old baby Margaret in her crib in the back bedroom. Sadly, the claims were true. Margaret's arms had indeed been cut off, and she was losing fluid quickly. Margaret was rushed to the hospital while officers interviewed Dina. Dina showed absolutely no emotion during her interview. She admitted to cutting off her baby's arms with a dazed look in her eyes. Apparently, Dina saw this story on the news about a lion attacking a young boy and took it as a sign of the apocalypse. God then commanded her to cut off the arms of her baby, and she obeyed. Dina also said God told her to cut her arms off after that, which is why she had the wound on her shoulder. During her interview, Dina was praying. She said, "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord." She was also humming church hymns. It's so messed up. As for Margaret, it was too late to save her. Not only were both of her arms completely severed at the shoulder, but Margaret also had over 50 wounds on her face.
A burglar was caught red-handed, but the last thing police expected was that he had accidentally uncovered a murder. It was the 20th of December 2022 in Freetown, Indiana. It was just days before Christmas when an awful tragedy struck one family. Harold Allen, also known as Peanut to friends, I don't know why, seemed to die suddenly and unexpectedly at his house. All the neighbours were like, "Oh my god, what an awful tragedy to happen to this family so near to Christmas too." He was a slightly bigger guy and he was diabetic, so it was quite believable that he would have health issues, and he'd apparently suddenly died of heart complications. His wife Marsha had made the 911 call. She was like, "My husband is on the bedroom floor, he's non-responsive." And officers just put all of this down to a terrible medical tragedy. So what changed? Well, months later, another 911 call came in to the exact same address. This time it was reporting a burglary. These terrifying guys had broke in and stole the family safe, and it's like, how much more can one family go through? Luckily, the home did have cameras, and police did manage to identify the burglars pretty quickly. These were Stephen White and Nathaniel Napier. But then they found out so much more than they expected. They showed up at Stephen's house and confronted him, and after denying it for a while and acting kind of shifty, he suddenly goes, "Okay, I'm going to explain the whole thing, but it's ugly." He was like, "You know this Marsha Allen woman, the woman whose house we burgled, the woman whose husband passed away of so-called natural causes? Well, I know she killed him. For life insurance money." But guess what? She didn't get the life insurance money because it turned out the policy was set to go to his brother and not her. He was like, "I'm friends with her daughter Ashley, that's how I know all of this." He said she organised the burglary. Marsha apparently had given Stephen the code for the safe and said, "I'll give you $3,000 if you do this." And you might think, like I did originally, I was like, well, why is she going to want somebody to burgle her? Like, what would she get out of that? Well, with probate and everything going through, she wanted to hide money, she wanted to hide collectibles and weapons from that safe, pretend they'd got stolen so she didn't then have to hand them over to other family members / the brother. She wanted to inherit this all for herself. Stephen was like, Marsha Allen killed her husband by poisoning a root beer float, which I don't think we have in the UK, but apparently it's like ice cream and beer. So police started reinvestigating Harold's death, and they brought Marsha into the station and basically confronted her. They were like, "Are you okay if we just look through your phone in a second just to make sure that you didn't have anything to do with your husband's death?" And she was like, "Absolutely fine." Then when police left the room, I guess she didn't really realize she was being picked up on security cameras, but she starts just frantically deleting so much of her phone. I guess she didn't know police can access deleted files. Marsha had literally texted her daughter Ashley saying he's got to go. And then they were talking about which exotic poison to use. But this is truly a wild, wild case. Let me know if you want me to do a deep dive on the podcast of this case. Because guess what happened when Ashley was interviewed at the police station? They were obviously questioning Ashley separately about her mum's involvement in the murder, etc. And then an officer burst through the door. He was like, "It's not going to be an easy conversation, but after your mum was here yesterday and spoke with us, we got a call to do a welfare check. And she's dead." Ashley was absolutely devastated, but she was about to learn something even more crazy about her mum's death. Just before she took her own life, Ashley's mum had scribbled a note, fully throwing Ashley under the bus for this. I mean, if she's gonna end her life anyway, she might as well just like take the rap for it. But actually she wrote, "I did not kill my husband, you win, Ashley." In 2025, Ashley took a plea deal, pleading guilty to attempted murder. I don't know why it wasn't actual murder, because the guy did die, and conspiracy to commit murder. She got 50 years in prison, but that's not where this case ends. Because imagine my surprise when I'm doing my investigating, doing my research on this case, and I'm like, oh, Ashley had a partner called Ty who died. He died back in 2019, before any of this, before Harold's murder, and guess what he died of? Heart problems. He was a healthy 33-year-old. And Ashley got the life insurance money. I would just advise any of you guys that if you ever come across Ashley and she offers you a drink, don't take it. For more cases like this, I post a brand new episode on my podcast, The Born Investigation, every single week.